La Niña is officially back, and here's how it can impact your weather as it turns colder. On October 9th, 2025, the Climate Prediction Center officially declared La Niña. This will be the second consecutive winter with La Niña and fourth out of the last 5, so we are certainly no stranger to this regime. This is characterized by cooler than normal waters in the equatorial Pacific region. This is caused by strengthening trade winds in the Pacific, which blow from east to west and send the warmer waters westward toward Asia and allow cooler waters to rise closer to the surface. The reason this matters is because it impacts circulation patterns all across the globe, including here in the United States, and that can lead to dramatic changes in our weather. Just like last winter, this La Niña is expected to remain in weak status through early 2026 before rising to a neutral state by the time we get into spring. I should note that this La Niña is a couple months ahead of schedule from winter 24-25, so that means it could be more influential this upcoming fall and winter. The most common feature during La Niña is a strong area of high pressure in the northern Pacific, and that helps to amplify the jet stream over Alaska and western Canada. This creates two key features over the US, a strong polar jet to the north and a wide-reaching ridge over the south. These two features are constantly battling each other, and that can lead to wild swings in our weather from very cold regimes to very mild regimes. Historically, in La Niña since 2000, this has produced cooler winters from the Pacific Northwest to the plains and Midwest and warmer winters across the southern and eastern US. However, due to a weaker subtropical jet, this has tended to produce drier winters on the west coast and most of the southern and eastern US. Above average precipitation has been observed from the Great Lakes to the Mid-South and New England due to an increased frequency of clipper systems. The tendency has been for above average snowfall in the northern half of the US, especially in the Cascades, upper Midwest, and New England, which is great news for many of our ski resorts, whereas the southern half of the US has tended to see below average snowfall with the greatest deficits in the mid-Atlantic. The official winter forecast from NOAA is in line with climatology, favoring below average temperatures in the Pacific Northwest and above average across the southern and eastern US. In terms of precip, they favor a wetter winter across the northern Rockies and Great Lakes to Midwest and a drier winter across the Southwest, Gulf Coast, and East Coast. A couple things to keep in mind is number one, that forecast is very likely to be wrong because seasonal forecasting is very difficult, and number two, this is a 3-month average prediction. To the first point, last winter was actually a great example. The NOAA forecast going in was actually similar to what they have this time, but it actually behaved very atypically from La Niña and was actually the coldest winter we had seen in a decade. Additionally, snowfall was the opposite distribution of what we typically see, with below average in the north and historic snows in the south. Weather patterns constantly change, and so that's why we go back and forth between cold periods and warm periods. It's unlikely to be wall-to-wall warm or cold. So even if you have a milder winter on average over 3 months, it is still possible to get a severe cold shot for a few days within that. That's not something we could possibly predict at this juncture, but there are some warning signs we can look out for. As always, one of the big wild cards for winter is the big, bad, scary polar vortex that's starting to build to our north. If the polar vortex remains strong and well intact, that will keep all of the Arctic air bottled up to the north and lead to milder conditions across the US and Europe. But if the structure is disrupted by stratospheric warming or other means, that would cause the polar vortex to weaken or split, and that could send very cold air into the US and or Europe. The other factor would be the development of blocking patterns signified by high pressure in the polar regions, which helps to amplify the jet stream and send polar air deep into the US. This would be the negative phase of the Eastern Pacific Oscillation, or if that high pressure is over Greenland, that would be the negative phase of the North Atlantic Oscillation. So that takes us to the million-dollar question that you guys all care about. Will it snow this winter? And for most of you, the answer is yes. For some of you, it'll be a little, and others a lot. And yeah, there may actually be some pretty gnarly storms this winter, but as far as who gets the worst of it, we really have no idea at this juncture. There are many factors that play that influence storm genesis, storm tracks, and then result in snowfall, and we really have no visibility this far out. So when you see someone on the internet predicting an epically cold winter or one with a lot of blizzards, just know that it's probably not based on science, rather just engagement farming. Many of you may feel like winters just don't hit the same anymore and it doesn't snow as much, and it's not just you, it's actually true. Almost everybody in the US has seen a reduction in long-term snowfall averages, and that's simply because winters are getting warmer. This is especially true since 2020, where the majority of the country, shaded in blue, has been in a snowfall deficit. Thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments if you're team snow or team no snow, and for more updates on winter weather across the US this season, make sure to follow me on all social media platforms so you can stay weather aware.